I think they thought it was going to have much more effect than it did. And they say, okay, we're going to have a year or so of a bit of a shambles where we have loads of red cards, and then it's going to level off back to the level it was, and it's just not. And I thought you were going to score.
Ask a better question, you get a better answer.
What's really interesting, Zach, is it does seem to be a bit of a north-south thing as well here. With, tell me what you think here. I think the Southern Hemisphere sides are very keen to get this 20-minute red card rule on. And, you know, the World Rugby, which many say is a bit controlled by the Northern Hemisphere sides, is more reticent. I mean, where do you sit on that fence? I'm sitting on the fence very painfully because I cannot make my mind up.
I sit on the fence of what type of product do we want to see. What is the end result that we want to see here in our game of rugby, right? And is the red card rule in the spirit of the game? So I've always known a red card as, so I'll try to be empirical about this, right? Have we seen an increase of red cards? The answer is yes. But there is also an increase in player safety, obviously, and more knowledge in player safety. So we do get the importance of it. But we've actually moved to a situation where we are treating a poor technique as a red cardable offence versus what used to be real intent to harm as a red cardable offence. You're probably right to sit on the fence. My personal view, though, I lean towards I want to see open, free rugby. That's sort of my bar when it comes to assessing these types of things. And therefore, I lean towards the 20-minute red card rule.
Yeah, I'll tell you why I'm on the fence then. I mean, I think everyone wants to see 15 versus 15. I think that's pretty universal, isn't it? But I think what the problem, trying to get into World Rugby's heads here, I think the problem they've got is they're desperate to reduce head contact. Obviously, we've got, it's a hot topic. We've got lots of links now starting to be, shown possibly between CTE, chronic head trauma, and things like the terrible things like dementia and that sort of thing. And they know they've got to do something about this. And they've brought in these tougher laws, safer head contact, and it hasn't worked. And I'm really surprised. I thought these harsher or, more frequent red cards would mean coaches would say to players, change your tackle technique. Because I've made this point a few times before, Zach. Top players or even players in any decent side, if a coach says to them, do this, they're so good and they know that they don't play unless they do what the coach says. They will do it. Like 95% of the time, they will do it. But players aren't doing it, which leads me to conclude they are not being told enough. You can't go high, or stand up in the tackle. I think players are choosing to stand up in the tackle in all sides still. And I think that's World Rugby's problem is they're thinking, well, hang on, if we take it down to 20 minutes with basically saying we give up, this isn't working, just see the problem there.
I do see the problem. The only sort of rebuttal I will give to that is that the infringing player is penalised, right? And I guess we're trying to work out what is the appropriate penalty of poor technique, or I suppose you could even frame it, you're still potentially injuring players when there is a real focus on CTE and other medical issues. But do we want to ruin contests over this? And this is the great debate, right? It's really a blurred line between player safety and the product of rugby that we're trying to protect. And I think it's really, it might sound simplistic, me just sort of saying I'm for the 20-minute red card rule, but I just really believe that sitting down a player who's been negligent and maybe even dealing with it post-game to punish them further might be the right
post-game
answer.
citing, that's not a bad shout. I honestly think they're in a pickle here, World Rugby. I think they thought it was going to have much more effect than it did. And they say, okay, we're going to have a year or so of a bit of a shambles where we have loads of red cards, and then it's going to level off back to the level it was, and it's just not. I mean, something I've put forward in some of my videos before is, again, 3 cards is you have your normal yellow card, and then you have your orange card, which is the 20-minute rule for technical red card, if you like, and then your flagrant red card, someone just deliberately booting someone's head on the floor, something like that. That's the one I'd chuck out there, maybe with sightings as well.
So it sounds like you're moving a little bit more towards a Southern Hemisphere mindset here, Rich. Sounds like we've almost won you over, right?
Well, here's the thing. If you go 20-minute red card, and are we going to be reducing, cases of CTE? That's the thing. I think it would increase the product of rugby, definitely.
Yep.
But World Rugby know they have to do something to reduce head trauma. Yep. And if they're abandoning the red card experiment, they're going to have to try something else. That's the thing. They need something.
And I hope someone from World Rugby is watching this, because I think we've thrown up a great suggestion, right? Harsher sighting post-match.
Harsher sighting. That's a start. I reckon, for me, 2 classes of red card and very harsh sighting where the player gets some nasty bans and the club gets. I really think you've got to sting the coaches into action here, where they're going, this is not worth it. We have to really tell our players to go out of your way not to go high.
I personally think we've cracked it, Rich. I think we've got a case to present here to World Rugby. Suggestions to improve the game. Sounds reasonable and logical to me. So I think
it's such a hard topic. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's going to run that one, especially when we get more and more evidence as well. But something's got to change, and it's a question of what.